So finally, Ash and Alain get to battle.
Pokemon! 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 Pokemon!
Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Benzel, and welcome to another Pokemon XY&Z anime discussion. Today we're going to, of course, talk about the episode, as well as things that are going to happen in the future, and stuff of that nature in regards to XY&Z. First off, I know you can probably hear my fan. I apologize, it's my computer fan. It's late. My computer's been on a long time, so it's producing a lot of heat. And I meant to record this earlier, but I kept getting distracted and everything of that nature. So let's, of course, talk into this particular episode. I have a lot of notes, and this was going to be a very ranty episode, but I just want to get this review over with, because in a few hours, the next episode, or at least by my time, probably in like 12 hours, yeah, approximately, the next episode of Pokemon X, Y, and Z will be out, and that'll be the second part. And I don't want to watch that before I talk about this particular episode. I don't want to watch that before make this video. I want to make this video first. That way I'm less biased or more biased. I want to be want my mindset to just be about the this particular episode, the first one. So as I said, this was going to be a very ranty episode, and my intro to this video was actually going to be, look, I don't hate this episode, and I technically don't, but why is this happening, what's happening in the league? And there are a lot of problems that I have with this episode or whatever, but, you know, it's just whatever. You know, there's really nothing I can do about it, and I got really upset when I was making these notes, because I was just realizing how much I really dislike this league. Oh, don't get me wrong, it's a lot better than Unova. A lot better than 5th generation. Hands down, a lot better than 5th generation. The battles that we've even got with just Ash have been superior battles to the Ash versus Stefan battles. So yeah, at least there's that. At least it's better than 5th generation. As for any other generation, I'm not sure. There are some aspects that make it better than the Kanto region, but then again, it kind of felt like at that time, outside of certain Pokemon, that they almost got a little bit of screen time here and there, outside of like Pidgeotto and Tauros, of course. And, you know, but then we get into like the murky stages of, is the other 4, or is it 4? 3 maybe. The other 3, because this league would be the 6th one. So, of course, that would probably mean that there would be 3 other generations. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And to me, there are some aspects that make this greater so far than the other leagues or whatever. You know, just certain animation quality, certain battles in of itself. But otherwise, you know, I don't like what they're doing, you know. And I wish I could be happy with Ash being in the finals, and I don't know if he's going to win or lose tomorrow or in 12 hours or so, however many hours it is. I don't know if Ash is going to win or lose, but I just don't know. And I could go into why I have a problem with what happened with Noivern, what's happening with Noivern in the league, what's most likely going to happen with Goodra, and why I'm upset with Pikachu getting 2 wins. But, you know, I really don't want to get all ranty or whatever, anything. I will say one good aspect of this was, of course, the Hawlucha battle. But, of course, let me go through a quick synopsis real quick. So, of course, there's really nothing much to talk about in regards to a synopsis, because it's just a Pokemon versus a Pokemon, and that's pretty much it. So, of course, in the previous episode, we just barely got into it. They kind of did a recap a little bit, where they actually came back into the arena and called their names, and they're ready to call their Pokemon. Of course, Alain sends out Tyranitar. It's against Pikachu. Pikachu, of course, wins. And then, of course, I believe Pikachu is taken back for a moment. And then, of course, we get Noivern versus Weavile. and of course Noivern doesn't do too well because I don't, I have a theory, but it's kind of a ranty theory, but it's neither what I want to talk about. And then, of course, Noivern loses, as I've said, and then, of course, Halucha is sent out. And, of course, we get this kind of cool Halucha dancing, or, well, not dancing, but, kind of like running in place, getting it all pumped up. And it was in relation to Ash's Halucha's character, how it pertained to the Sawyer battle. In fact, I think it was a connection to the Sawyer, because the reason why Halucha lost to Slacking was because Halucha wasn't being attacked and it was just sitting there, and Halucha couldn't attack it all. So that's why I think Halucha lost that battle, and I gave a little bit more credence to that battle. But as it pertains to here, Weavile is attacking it, and I think that's like pumping up Halucha, being able to take hits more, actually actively fighting, doing some internal innate ability. That's not really a Pokemon ability, but something that would probably make sense with anime in regards to certain characters. And then of course Halucha beat Weavile, and that was pretty much it. Then of course we have B Sharp versus Halucha. Of course that's a knockout. And then of course we after that Alain recalls B Sharp, sends out Unfezant, and of course Ash sends out Talonflame. Talonflame and Unfezant had a fairly mundane battle. Surprisingly, I'm okay with Greninja getting whatever focus it is. I'm really getting tightly annoyed, even though there's only going to be one episode left in regards to the league, so I can't entirely hate it all that much because I already know what's going to happen, and it's kind of a positive thing, at least for me. So yeah, so Pikachu, I'm a little upset with what's going on with Pikachu. Noivern, I'm sick of, or whatever. Gudra, I'm sick of what's going on with Gudra. Halucha is kind of a mixed right now. Seems to be okay, but nothing really all that impressive. Talonflame is the only one that I have neither a positive or negative influence on in regards to this. I mean, I could say that I am disappointed that at best it got a weakened, the Slacking, and a tie, but for whatever reason, I guess I guess because Talonflame has been in so many gyms and has gotten a lot of real good battles throughout its evolutionary line as Fletching and Fletchinder, and other Pokemon just haven't been as lucky, that I guess I'm perfectly okay with whatever's going on with Talonflame, which is strange because I know I can imagine some people aren't exactly happy with Talonflame. And I can understand that it would have been nice for Talonflame to get an impressive win, but that didn't happen. So of course, after Unfezant and Talonflame collide, they tie, and then of course we get a battlefield change, and then of course it is Metagross versus Pikachu. Now I will get a little ranty in this particular moment, and it's because I do not like the fact that Pikachu took out both Tyranitar and Metagross. And the ridiculous thing is, and I will say this, I won't remove this from my video or things that I added in my notes, but when I was watching the battle with Pikachu versus Metagross, I really thought Pikachu was going to lose. I was going to be like, oh, okay, Pikachu loses, can't quite do it, got a Tyranitar, that's fine, let's give the whoever beats Metagross, let's give it to another Pokemon. Oh, Gudra. Gudra is one of... Okay, so yeah, Gudra's gonna... No, that's not what happened at all. Instead, Pikachu managed to take the win, and I was like, no, this is... and I say in my notes here somewhere, I get that Pikachu is Ash's starter, and I get that it's his number one Pokemon, but what people don't realize, or they realize this and they just don't care because it's Pikachu, but Pikachu will always be on the cast. Pikachu will always get battles. Pikachu will always get wins, losses, and everything. But a lot of other Pokemon don't actually get that luxury. Well, they'll get losses. That's a guarantee. There will be never any Pokemon that doesn't get some sort of loss or get knocked out in some fashion. Even if it ends in a tie, the Pokemon is going to be knocked out at some point in its adventure. There's no doubt about that. But the positive things, knocking out an opponent or finishing off an opponent's Pokemon, those are things that a lot of the other members don't have. And it was kind of like really apparent with like Oshawott in last generation, because Oshawott had a lot more screen time than any other Unova Pokemon. In fact, I'm not mistaken, Oshawott, there was a 50% chance Oshawott was going to show up. And for a character that belongs to Ash, that's not Pikachu, I guess you could say that's positive. But even then, it still didn't get a lot of battle focus, and it really didn't do very much. But of course, Pikachu, I think, got a lot more focus in regards to that, because look at Berg. Ash had a Tranquil that would have been perfect against Berg, but instead, Ash uses Pikachu because it's Pikachu, as if he didn't trust Tranquil to knock out a Pokemon that would be 4 times weak against Air Cutter or Gust or whatever moves Tranquil had at that particular moment. So anyway, back to here. I know it's really annoying that Pikachu took out Metagross, because of what we see in the preview. That's not really happy for me. So anyway, the episode ends with Pikachu versus Charizard, and Pikachu seemingly doing a little bit of damage, which might foreshadow something that might happen, or it may not. But anyway, that's pretty much all I can say about this particular episode in regards to that. I can see the merits of this episode, and I say in my notes that if I were to look at this episode, only at this episode, and disconnected from any other episode, I would have loved this episode. However, the fact that I know Noivern hasn't gotten very much, neither has Goodra, Hawlucha really not that much, and stuff, and even Greninja, even though Greninja is going to do things, it really isn't doing very much. So yeah, it's like, well, with everything in consideration, it makes my ability to enjoy this episode more. Because let's look at the league for Noivern. Noivern is out of the battle. There is no going to be any extra battles anymore. This is the final battle in the league. There will be no other battles in the league whatsoever after this episode. There may be a practice battle. Maybe they could have a practice battle of Tierno versus Ash. Maybe at the end, Ash's Noivern versus Tierno's Blastoise. Ash wins. Maybe that could happen. But basically, all we got out of Noivern in this league was a tie against Salamence, which I guess could be impressive, but it's still just a tie. It would be more impressive if it was actually a win. And yes, I realized there was a point of all those double knockouts in the battle against Sawyer, but still, I felt like it was insulting to Sawyer and Ash's character to have all those double knockouts just so Sawyer could have Sceptile as his last Pokemon, and then just have Pikachu lose to Sceptile, as well as Greninja losing to, or Pikachu losing to Sceptile, and Sceptile losing to Greninja. I get that maybe a Pokemon could have lost to, or Pikachu, maybe they wanted Sceptile to get a 1 win against Ash, and that was what Pikachu was for. But at the same time, Noivern could have taken out Salamence, lost to Slurpuff. Goodra could have beaten Slurpuff, and then Sceptile could have taken out Goodra, Pikachu, and then lost to Greninja. And I felt like that would have been a lot better choice, but that's not what happened, and so we got all those double knockouts. And so yeah, we have a tie for Noivern, and then an outright loss. Only 2 battles Noivern was in, and it only tied in one and lost in the other one. And that's pretty much the end of Noivern. I mean, I'm not saying Noivern isn't going to get battles later, but I don't think they're going to be any important battles, because we usually don't have important battles. We don't have official battles against anyone after the league, and that's the main problem that I have with the league so far, is that this is pretty much it. The Pokemon might get battles, might go against Team Flare, Lysander, Xerosic, Malva, maybe, Mabel, Aliana, and the Team Flare scientists, maybe they'll get something, but there's no guarantee that it's going to be anything cool, because it's definitely not going to be an official battle, and it's just a Pokemon being sent out battling against another Pokemon, and there's no victor or anything. There's just basically who repelled who. It was just it's just like, oh no, I don't want to fight anymore. I will recall my Pokemon, like what happened with Team Flare in the Terminus Cave episode when Greninja was like doing very well, and I don't know if it was Mabel or whatever who basically said, or maybe it was can't remember their names at the moment. One of the Team Flare scientists said Flash, and then they ran away. And I feel like that's at best is what we're gonna get for the the Team Flare in regards to Ash's Pokemon. It's just gonna be like, well, they're just gonna run away and retreat. I mean, we may get Swirly Eyes, but I just don't know if it's gonna be as impressive as if it was like a real official battle with a referee that decides whether or not a Pokemon is knocked out or not. So that's just my personal opinion on regards to that. So, and of course I say Goodra as well, because if we look at the preview for next episode, which we'll talk about, so might as well. So in all the previews that we see Pikachu pretty much losing to Charizard. I mean, it may not have been in the next episode preview, but it was definitely in the Pokenechi preview of Pikachu being knocked out. I'm pretty sure it was Charizard. And then we saw Bisharp versus Goodra. And then we saw a scene that I really did not like. And that was Alain sending out Charizard again. But when it flew towards its opponent, it was perfectly clear that Greninja was out. That Greninja had been sent out. And that would not make any sense if Goodra had outright knocked out Bisharp, which means that there are only 3 possible combinations that happen, and they could be positive or not. It just really depends. We have the more positive outlook where Goodra ties with Bisharp, Ash sends out Greninja first, and then that's when we get Charizard going over, being sent out, and then flying over to Greninja or whatever. And this is a positive outlook because it would definitely mean that Ash would win the league. Because it would not make any sense to me if Greninja did not take out one Pokemon against Alain. There is just no way they would ever do that to something as powerful as Ash Greninja. And then, of course, we have the likely negative outlook is Goodra outright loses to Bisharp, and Greninja takes it out. And then when this happens, I feel like it is a guarantee that Ash will lose to Alain. Because Greninja already took its win, doesn't need any other wins, it can definitely lose to Mega Charizard X. Now, the least likely negative yet positive outlook is Goodra outright losing, Greninja taking out Bisharp and Mega Charizard X to win the league. Now, those are the only 3 possibilities that I can imagine, and the episode will probably be way out before I even upload this video. I'm going to try to leave this pretty much unedited for the most part. I won't put any notes like, oh, looks like I was right. No, I'm going to keep away those opinions in regards to editing this video. So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I want to see. And, I just, I'm really not happy with what's going on with the team. But I don't want to really get into it anymore. But there's one last thing we need to talk, and then I'll end this particular video. And that, of course, is there will be a 1-hour special on September 15th for Pokemon X, Y, and Z, and it will probably be the 1-hour conclusion of the Team Flare arc. Possibly. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We don't have any titles yet. The last title we have is in regards to Clement battling against Xerosic. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen then. So that's all I wanted to say in regards to this particular episode. So thank you for watching. I'm Dustin Benzel, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.